Then you put out your first solo album, Lo-Fi.
Yeah.
For the people out there.
Yeah.
It's just in my hand. How did the cover come about? I don't want to say. Is that like a duck?
There was a duck called
That is a
Abdul.
duck?
He's an Indian runner duck. Yeah.
Is he an Olympian?
Yeah, I think he was, but Mojo was about to go on tour, and we had this duck living in the farm, so we went over to the next door neighbours. I hear, mate, would you look after that duck? We'll just be away for 2 weeks. And it was about 2 years later, and it's still driving past your man. Go, fuck! I wonder if he still got that duck. Just never got round. And then time went by, and it was just too long. So it got weird, So it got too long to go back and ask back for the duck back, because maybe the duck had, got friends with his chickens, or maybe the duck might have died.
Do you think a duck went away? You think a duck could partner it up, you think?
Anything can happen in this world, I think. Anything you can think of, I think.
I know Duck Disco in the pond there, put all your lights on. Hey, whack, whack, let's do a disco. Hey, come on, Mikey, get the one over there. Whack, 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 whack. Take one, totally professional, Mikey. So welcome to our 5th Small But Massive podcast. This week we're joined by Michael Mormecha and Amy Montgomery. Amy will be joining us later on, Mike, for a wee banter. And so myself and yourself, our friendship goes back a long way.
I actually calculated the days,
the digits,
on the way
the
up.
hours,
the, digit,
the minutes,
the hours. Do you want to know?
The seconds? I'm feeling them in my heart now. The seconds.
5,969 days ago, first went up to the playing field to play the second Glasgowbury.
Unreal.
Class.
And it's great to see you again. You haven't changed one bit, not one iota.
Happy days.
So let's go back a wee bit, right, Mike? And then we'll shoot forward. You were born in Derby.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you moved with your family to the mighty Lisburn. How would I pronounce that?
Centre of the universe.
How would I pronounce that if I was posh? Like?
Lisburn.
Have you got a wee Lisburn? That sounds cool. But
that's just the way I talk. That's why I talk so posh.
I know. You've got a beautiful, well-trained posh accent. Yeah. So, but
I'm working on it.
And you moved to Lisburn at the age of what age? Tell the people out there.
I think I only spent about 8 months in England, and arrived in January 1985.
85.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking to my mum about it the other day, and she was saying just, arriving here in the cold and moving into the granny's house for a while before the first house got sorted, the house where we grew up, and yeah. That was where I started life. I'm a blow-in, but...
Well, you were there, and then, so your first, because you are a producer, a songwriter, a crew manager, a tour manager, you're many, many different things with many coats, many disguises. But way back when you first got introduced to music, was it like at a youth club, or like a gathering in a hall, or how did that come about for you?
Going right back, it would be my man and dad playing, mostly my dad playing Beatles and the Eagles, and he was into prog as well, so we'd have got a bit of Yes and a bit of Jethro Tull in there, and then when my ma was out of the house, he would slip a bit of Black Sabbath on and say listen to that, and then the Led Zeppelin, and then from there, just no musicians in the family, but that was definitely planting the seed at an early age, and
you felt it from an early age.
Big time. Yeah, I remember being like smaller than the hearth, and falling in love with Hocus Pocus by Focus.
Hocus Pocus by Focus. Have you got a wee liner from it there? Can you give us? Oh, deadly tune. Oh, lethal
There's
tune.
no lyrics,
There you are. I know that song, but I didn't know the name of it. But that's brilliant. I think that's the way everybody has with tunes. But your first time behind drums, was that like at a gathering?
It was actually, yeah. So in the boys' brigade growing up, so I did a little bit of side drum, so marching drum, but then wouldn't have been near a drum kit, until being in a youth club one day, and there was older guys jamming away, playing Green Day and Nirvana, and they went out for a break, and I said to the drummer, can I have a go in your kit? And that was it. He went out, and I just sat behind the kit and just play a beat, and that was...
was that
the start of the end?
No. Well, you're still here, so it's just still going on.
No.
And so from that there kicking off, because I read somewhere that your father then had an old twin tape deck with a microphone and something that you could record on, and something that I remember way back, where you would record the mic to the tip deck, take it off and go again, and I suppose it's your first form of multi-tracking. It's your first introduction to recording, and that's very important, because even the old tip decks of old, you just hit record and play, and away you go, hit them hits out, and you just sung into the tip deck.
I'm so glad that old hi-fi was part of my growing up, and sort of, starting guitar and drums at the same time, and then realizing, right, okay, I'll play. You could record one bit on side A, play the drums for 2 minutes, and then stick that tape into side B, and then record again, and it would overdub it, in a way, but and the quality got worse and worse as you went along. But like but
it was a learning process. It was a learning process, Mikey.
To be jamming with yourself as a kid, you're realizing there's a tune, that's a song, and then I was drawing out the album cover on the tape deck and making my own little label up,
What'd you call your own wee label?
What was it called?
What was it called?
Frog Records or something.
Frog Records. Should we reincarnate Frog Records? Yeah. But see, even with having that, then I suppose that would have been your first introduction to like a form of songwriting, a form of learning to put beats and tracking them all together, and that was a natural progression of a tip in them days, just eating away and dying away and dying away and dying away. But you got the process.
Oh yeah, and the expression, getting to and playing a riff over the beat that you put down, then you could sing your heart out and sing whatever you were feeling at that time. Whatever you're feeling when you're 12,
you were. I suppose you're saying there, like looking at your father's album collection and looking and thinking, how did they do that? But I suppose you know now where that is and how that's done. But then it was the adventure of trying to get something tracked down. This is mine. This is that would have been your first introduction to doing your own original content, and to you, it was deadly. What did it be?
Absolutely, yeah. It's at the end, as I said, I'm so glad that, I think it's amazing the technology people have now, and everyone has GarageBand in their pocket or in their laptop, and that's class. But I'm just like super glad that just where I was born, and just the thing that I could get my hands on at that time, was this old karaoke machine. Just got the tail end of that analog tape world and what that sort of meant, and capturing a full take, and not being able to quantize everything, and everything's too much in time.
Here, there's a wee bit of noise in the background. The cymbal. Oh my God! Everybody, get out the tablets to calm us all down. What has happened here? Oh, Mike. Shh, there's a hiss in the background. Get rid of the hiss.
Now everyone's trying to get the hiss back in. The hiss plug in. Get more. It needs more hiss.
Well, I suppose in them days it was reel to reel. I know about it myself, and I suppose you had, as a band or an artist going in them days, you had to rehearse because it was important to get it right. I suppose that taught you that time was valuable, and so then. After that there, you moved to, is it Surg or Surg and Bangor, or how is that pronounced?
Well, yeah, after leaving school, and playing in a few bands in school, just left and worked in a few crappy jobs, furniture shop, and then for BT in a call centre for a year.
Hello, I'm Mike.
Yeah.
Would you like the greatest deal ever? Would you give us a wee voice there? Would you give us a wee...
Hello, it's Mike Smith. Can
hello,
I speak
Mike
to the
Smith.
account holder, please?
Hello, I'm here, Mike. Here I am.
Hi, hello, Paddy.
Mr. McGarrett is my name.
Mr. Glasgow, you need 1571 because...
157? How long have you been taking my glasses on?
Because you're not busy enough, you need to hear the last 10 messages.
How did that go? I would say you're a good enough seller at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, no, I was terrible at lying to people and making people who'd never turned on a computer, trying to make them buy broadband. That was,
and then especially maybe selling it to people that actually at that time hadn't even broadband in their area.
No, people didn't know. I was working with people who didn't know how to say digital. They're all like, have you heard of this digital? It's all coming in. So, no, anyway, that was a good inspiration to not work for
a multinational.
And get the hell out of there and go and study what I really wanted to do, which was learn how to produce and play music. So I went up to Bangor College, and that sort of shaped the next sort of 12 plus years of my life, because there's where I met the boys in MOJO. And
right. So for the people out there that aren't aware of the formation of MOJO Fury, so you were in, if this is right, you were in the college, and like any good rock and roll place, that's out there, it's all about collaboration. It's all about meeting other instrument players, singers, and getting together. So was there was an assessment or something that you had to do, and you had got together with Kieran and James?
Yeah, well, no, I think Kieran and I were in the same class, so we were put into a tech band, and I think, funny enough, Charlene Haggerty was playing the tambourine, and we covered the Beatles tune as well. So
what Beatles tune was it?
I think it was Help, you know.
Oh, Help! Well, fair play.
Murdered it, like, you know.
But look, Charlene is in there now working, as she has been for years, in the music industry, like yourself.
Yeah, it's funny, and Jeff Robinson was there too. In that year, you know, we all only stayed a year, and then everyone went off, and it's just funny now, you know, few people still working full time in the industry.
Jeff's out there with a PR company.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And as I say, and he knows how to plug for people. He knows how to get them out there, and he's doing a great job at it.
He's working with Amy as well. It's great.
Brilliant. So and that shows you that once probably you never think when. It's like any of them courses, not everybody's going to go the rock and roll route. Some people are going to go down, I suppose, the digital route or the production route, and some people are going to go into television and radio, and some people are going to go out on the stage and keep it going, and some people just maybe learn for what it is, and there could be PR, whatever you say. So I suppose it sort of opens up that whole industry of the music industry and how large it is and how many different people. But from your course, you're showing now that there's people now right out the front of it, and credit, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, big time, yeah.
And Charlene's a manager as well, and so you got together then.
So met the lads,
and for the people out there, they were Mojo Kieran and Mojo
Maggie, and Jimbo,
So Kieran McGreevy, James Little, Mike Mormecha, the formation of MOJO Fury. So in the tech, when you started playing together, like obviously everybody that would go into a course like that, they've either been in all their bands or they've done a wee bit, but you seem to click right away, because you said about the minutes that we were together, I can go right back to 2004 whenever first got your first demo. But so how did it go from there in the tech? Did you just get together, start practicing, and then doing like?
Yeah, I think Kieran and James were all ready, you know, sort of school friends and playing a bit together, and then Kieran and I, within a few jams, just knew that we had something together, you know, and just that formula. And you know, I was on drums, he was on bass, and I suppose at that age, you know, as well, or anywhere in your musical journey, whenever you play with someone and you know that formula and connections there, whether it's bass and drums or you're a songwriter, you're writing with someone, something just
it's like being in a room with people in general. You feel it, you know, there's a thing, and you just know
it's just right,
and it worked for you, and so it clicked then. And so your styles then, you would all been coming from different styles obviously of music. I know James and Kieran isn't here to speak, but do you want to tell a wee bit of their background and then how actually your sound as MOJO Fury came out of it? You know what I mean?
But I mean, big time. Yeah, I mean, you know, James, big Radiohead fan, and Ronnie, you know, and I mean, that's just one thing. Also, look, they're into everything too, you know. But I mean, back then, I suppose, you know, you had your favourite band, and maybe I was listening to loads of 9 Inch Nails, and Ronnie might have been listening to Marilyn Manson and Placebo, and James bought a bit of Radiohead, and then so there was just a bit of that grungy.
There was a cocktail mix of cool music.
Just good sort of alternative bands, and then sort of we just had our that's what came out, our own sort of mixture of. Yeah,
and your first demo then. Where did you record your first demo? Like Shooting for 11 was on it, and that didn't appear again after that.
No, it didn't. No. I suppose that's funny that's sort of connected to yourself, because I think a friend of mine at the time, Varn, was working with Jody Gavin doing CD duplication, and it was probably Jody was the connection with you, but
well, Jody would have been. You know, would always been sending music down from, I suppose that he would have been, you know, duplicating maybe, or bands from up around the you know, Fermanagh, Oma and all. You know, I suppose ends where people maybe wouldn't have known we were even on to play at the festival or anything, you know. So it was good, and then it arrived. So you did you didn't record it? Jody mastered
no.
it.
It was through those lads. Sorry that we heard about Neil Calderwood, this magic man in Middle Earth that could that was the only place to go to for rock, you know, and right enough. So it was we had no money, and but Varn, you know, I think he'd heard some stuff, and he's like, right, I'll pay. So we went up and he paid for a day or two, and it was a lot of money too, you know, 150 quid a day or something.
Yeah.
He's like, well, flip, right, okay, well, you know, we better make this count. So we went up
Varn
with 3 tunes.
Varn a great belief in you.
Oh, he was,
a good person,
totally,
and he's totally there, a good person, you know.
Yeah. Probably still owe him that money, by the way. You can cut that bit out.
No, it's all right. I can hear in my ears from Varn, forgiveness. Yeah. He's very calm with the world now, so he is.
Yeah.
So I'd say just go, it means nothing, it's a past. You know, let us do this together, Mike. Let's do this wee thing together, because it is nothing but the past, Varn. So that's brilliant. And so because I remember the demo coming through, and and then you came down and you played a G session, and as a 3-piece, you were brutal as in Deadly Band, you know, and people at that time, I suppose it made it different at that time was everything was sort of concentrated, for us anyway, we've seen it as a lot of gigs maybe in the cities. So for us, the G sessions was always Mikey about, as you know, getting bands from maybe like yourselves to actually travel from Lisburn, and Cashier Number 9 and all the different bands, and Fighting a Wire and the Faro and all, you know, all great bands to come into.
I didn't even know Derry existed probably by the time, you know, at the early Mojo days. So coming up to Drapers, we're going to Drapers. What's Drapers?
I must check my history. I must check out my history book, you know. I suppose you arrived in D-Town, and then that's, I suppose, where for us at the time, for us, the extension was the G sessions, as you know, of the festival, and it was a good place for people to come and play.
Had you had the first festival by that stage too? Because we came and played 2004, but you had the first one in what, the year before? The
Undertones headlined it. They just got back, and Paul McLean was singing with them, and it was deadly. Like In Case of Fire, it would have been Element at the time.
Yeah.
Just before they became In Case of Fire, and then before they were signed, and their music, as you know, was just deadly, the sound of it, and but at that time, I suppose, they could have been ahead of the game, like yourselves coming out. It's all these things were going on. There wasn't much of an industry as such. There was people out there helping people on, like yourselves, and people were getting people together in vans and travelling them up. But for us, it sort of connected this other scene, and then all of a sudden you had as you know, you had a scene happening in Oma and then Strabane, and so they might have all been sort of wee bars, but for us and Ryan Lagan that ran the cellar at the time, it was deadly, because there were deadly nights, and there was a great atmosphere, and people wanted to be hearing bands, you know, and I think that was an important thing, and it's even more relevant now. You hear people wanting so much to see performances again, and want to see people playing and everything, everything that goes with it, because I suppose in them days there would have been more, as we chatted, before, about more. It was all about the posters and where you could get them up.
That's even around that time. I think there was like something called NI Music or something. It was like a zine, you know, like a small magazine thing, and that's where you maybe would have advertised your band or seen gigs advertised. And even early Mojo, the forum on the website was a very primitive thing. I think even, you know, that was very early MySpace days, so it was all putting up posters
because it was a different way of building a fan base.
And
sometimes you were going into the unknown in a sense, because you were coming somewhere and you were coming with your music, and it might have been the first time there. But I think for us, at that time there was a sort of, I suppose, a special amount of people that wanted to see new music, and it sort of backed it up that when they went to university they were going to gigs there and they were seeing more bands, and then it backed it up, that spread it itself out, and I suppose it creates a scene in itself. But it's very important, as you know, that them venues are there, you know, and that they're still there after this, that artists at certain levels can get into and play again, you know, in whatever shape or form that is. So we got the first album, as I say, Shooting for a Living. We can go off and start singing it, but it's a deadly song. Check it out. Is it up there still?
It's maybe lurking around the net somewhere. Who knows?
I had the CD downstairs, and I didn't bring it up, so I could not even able to acknowledge the other 2 songs. There was 3 songs on demo, wasn't it?
There was Oh My Soul and Violent and Lovely. Yeah, so
You are that violent and lovely. It's lovely and lovely. And so you went from there, Mikey, and you went out, and because I know, as you said, we met away back then, and it was, I suppose, a time when we were the only festival out there, I suppose, in a green field setup.
I mean, yeah, even you know, the word festival maybe had been, you know, previous years been down to like Oxygen, some of these big things, but nothing like that in the north. So for this thing to be this an hour's journey up to this magical place called Draperstown where we were going to play a festival, you know. So, yeah, I remember arriving up there with the car rammed full of gear, ham sandwiches, and a bag of magic mushrooms, and that was it. That was it, you know.
And there's me just thinking you're just drinking water the whole time. I knew there was sort of searching for my face one time, what was happening there, you know. And but I suppose, look, and from that there, at that time too, you'd have been out supporting bands. I can still watch you from afar and fighting a wire in the Faro. There was a good camaraderie among all, you know, all the bands that were playing.
Yeah, so that was still very early, sort of. I suppose that sort of scene of your fighting with wires, the Faros. That was just, I think, kicking off then, which would have, you know, ran for the next kind of 10 years of that real rock orientated thing, and you know, in the north, and where we all went up the mountain every year and did that for 10 years, and it was just, you know, crazy, you know. But now it's a completely different, there was a lull for a while, and now we're back up in a completely new area of music and sound and artists and different stuff.
That's it. And you'd notice that more than any, that whole shift in style and form and what you're allowed to do and what you can do and what is right to do is just do it now, rather than thinking any of that there shit, you know what I mean? And what kind of process then would you sort of yourself put to writing a song? You know, for people out there, you know, that may be listening.
I suppose I'm about, you know, not a stone throw off being 20 years into kind of computer-based music. You know, I was 16 whenever, you know, the family got this first kind of Dell computer and got the Reason software, you know, and Sony Vegas and this stuff. So I mean, even from then it was all, you know, went from the karaoke machine to then being able to listen to like drum and bass beats or play with samples and play, you know, different things. So you know, that's always influenced how I would write. You know, I would hear a drum beat or hear a loop and then maybe write a song around that, you know. And even just this week, you know, Amy and I are working on a new tune here, and it came just from me just hearing this loop and a new sample pack, just a beat, just a groove, and this song just leapt out of the beat and just grabbed the acoustic guitar and like boom, there it is, and it's a beautiful. Well, I think it's a beautiful song underway, you know. And it just came from. One of those ones just landed, you know. But otherwise, you know, I still love sitting at the piano writing that way too, you know, rather than. Yeah, well, that more organic kind of songwriting way too, where it's not about the production; it's just about sort of
Well, I'm just remembering back, back to the festival. You were a great band. I'm a man that sometimes freak people with errands to do at short notice, and those still always says, "Oh, you can give a person a bit of notice," you know. And I'm sure everybody at our side there is going, "I know exactly what that means." So, for you. You when way back 2006, I think, when Neil Fallon was to come.
That's right, from Clutch.
From Clutch, his first ever unplugged acoustic gig, and it was absolute.
How did that happen, by the way? It was in my head to ask.
Well, weird stuff happens, right? So Paul Clegg, who's as you know, was a tour manager. And Paul at that time would have been out with different bands, and Clutch being one of them. And I think you mentioned Placebo earlier on. They may have been or may not. I think that was right too. And so then Paul's from here, as you know, and countryman. And then he chatted to me about it, and I thought, like, you know, geez, at that stage there was no way we could afford Clutch, because they were hammering down loads of crowds, and now they're a band that can, as you know, can go out on the road and they play a certain size of a venue and pack it out. And so I thought, well, he put this idea forward, and obviously, I don't know, him and Neil were looking into what was going on, and Neil liked the sound of the whole, what it was about new music, as you know, and local bands, and that whole camaraderie between artists and people and attendees and food vendors and just everybody that, as you know, was on the site. It was all about good times and supporting each other. And so that was fine, I suppose. Then it came to, he was to come over and he was to play at the main festival. And as I say, for all those people out there, you're going to be proof now to this, that there was like an air intervention, you know, and you guy asked you guys, do you travel to Dublin?
Yeah. And, he was flying in, wasn't he?
Yeah, and but because of turbulence at the other side, he couldn't come in. So that was something like, you know, all of a sudden you're all cooked up, and then you had certain types of, you know, real hard end clutch fans, you know, and then you have to explain he's not coming, and then people thinking, oh, he's never going to come at all, you know what I mean? And so I suppose even I kind of thought that, but true to who he is as a musician and an individual and as a person, he didn't make it through the turbulence into yourselves. But Ryan Lagan from the Cellar, he went in the next day after you guys waited probably forever, thinking, has Paddy actually booked Neil Fallon at all?
Which just to take you back there, so Paddy had asked Kieran from MOJO and myself to drive down to Dublin and pick up this rock star from Clutch, and we were like, no way, the guy from Clutch is playing the festival. I was like, yeah, of course we'll go and pick him up, you know. So standing with his name written on a bit of paper in Dublin airport, and to no avail, you know. I don't know can't remember how long we waited, but I'm saying it was long enough. But
but the thing was, I think it for us and for, I suppose, the festival, it was just mental that you know, I was excited as anything, and then I suppose the best thing was he fulfilled his contract, and he landed over with his wife, as you know, in the Cellar the next day, which you were there. I think I have photos here, maybe even been that day. I'll show you one in a minute. And so out of that there, what the people should know out there was, not only did I ask you to go to Dublin, but then I decided you're going to support this man the next day with no warning at all, no sort of, Mike, this might happen, dead on Paddy, we'll get ready for it. But I think I just threw it on you, and the night before it, then we knew he was coming. You stayed up in our house, yourself, Kieran and James and Graham Smith. Yeah. And there is
it's funny, I've only one photo of MOJO up in the studio, and it's from your living room, from us from that night, you know. But that's that's the one. That's up in the studio. Yeah,
it shall be going out to good people, but we can see it coming. That one there, and
it's class.
Now I wanted to ask the question then was because I think going back to then, you hadn't played guitar before, or not? I mean, you had played, but you hadn't played.
No, I'd played guitar in the background, you know, growing up still, but not in the band. No, MOJO was just a 3-piece band with me singing and drumming from necessity, I suppose, with just, you know. Well, Jimbo sang a bit whenever he had to, you know, but you had to sort of poke him to get him to sing, you know.
And so that would have been your first acoustic gig as well, then, with out there.
Yeah.
And but I know there was other photos taken that night from Graham, but they've never seen the light of day.
Yeah, and they're probably amazing because Graham's, you know, crazy good photographer. Yeah.
So then you got that there sorted out, and then came along your first album, which is totally bemused me at the minute, the name.
Visiting Hours of a Travelling Circus.
You got your first album, Visiting Hours of a Travelling Circus. I took my glasses off there, Mike, and I just wished it clean away. Visiting Hours of a Travelling Circus. So for the people out there, that was your first album. You had played a lot of, like as I say, gigs and stuff. Like you definitely had done that. You had done the groundwork, and even between that, you had played in the north and a lot of gigs in the south and the Dublin venues that mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big time.
And Limerick and all round, and you'd done all them tours, and like you'd have been out, I suppose, with signed acts as well, and me and bands I got there, so then the opportunities were coming up. But the likes of them gigs then and them days, Mike, did you sort of put them together yourself, or was there somebody? Did you come across an agent at that time to look out for the band? I
suppose we were just hitting up the promoters, and the likes of Joe Dugan and people, and just kind of whenever those gigs came along, and even that's how the likes of supporting Biffy Clyro in the Spring and Airbreak in Belfast came along, and they were on their third album, and
they were packed rooms.
Oh yeah,
and I've seen you in them rooms, and you blasted them, you know what I mean, and same thing, the bigger stages. So, but then when you were sort of when the album came out, was it then you got together and done like your first kind of, as in, there's one thing going on a boat and going and doing a gig and then coming over again, and then there's another thing putting the line of gigs together and all over the UK, and I think you'd done London and Camden and Birmingham and Rock City and Nottingham and all. Was that the time to back up the album release?
As you were saying there, we're doing a bunch of shows, and it wasn't until Rocky O'Reilly, came to us and said, right, stop faffing around, come on and I'll record your album. So went down to him, and in the middle of doing the album and sitting on the rough mixes, and then Kieran was starting to send those out to different labels, and then getting Northern Music there over in Leeds getting back to us and saying, we love the record, and they came over and seen us play in Belfast, and then that was it. I suppose we had the management and tied in with their own label, so and then through that contact, starting tour in the UK, up until then it was finding it hard to sort of get out of Northern Ireland, even getting over to London for one show was like, whoa,
you were kind of trapped in that sort of circle all the time, just going around. And I suppose having that sort of showing, I suppose, out there for other artists listening to this from your own career and background and stuff, is that it's probably, you need a team to sort of work.
Oh, big time,
and I suppose even now you need it, like, I suppose it's all digital, and it's all, we talked earlier on about MySpace, like it just went into the blood area, it just became, and now I suppose there's different ways of people getting their music out. So when you
need to be playing in front of people, because it's easy to be, I think, in Ireland, particularly in the north, a big fish in a small pond. If you're in a band and you're doing well and you think you're doing well, but then whenever if you really want to do it, and you think about the world, once you leave these shores, you're a needle in a haystack, and that's the importance of going and touring and playing in front of as many people and winning over heads one by one, and that's. And which of course involves a team of people, one hopefully being a good agent
So back in them days then, so the first album was all done Rocky, but did that show you then, I suppose then, as someone that that set up Millbank Studios, that all of a sudden you were the songwriter, musician, and people should also know that you started in the drums in MOJO Fury, and then I remember the last gig, and I think it was the Spring and Airbreak, is that right? You was all in the white.
Yeah, in the Mandela, I think.
Mandela, and it was a deadly show. One of them shows you kind of think, right, this is only beginning again, and then that was it. It was all over. But it was a brilliant show. And was it recorded and filmed and?
Bits and pieces. I know one, but that was filmed where the fella jumped on stage and then decided to leap off, and he face planted the barrier.
Oh no, jam sandwich.
The whole gig stopped because this fella's head was hanging off.
I thought that was just a sort of a sound interruption. There you go. Now that, just thinking that, I'm trying to imagine that moment. I was up in the wee right hand corner side you. You lifted, you sort of up a wee bit of height, and you could look down. It was deadly. But there you are. I was just looking here. There's another picture here with you and the MOJO guys.
That's an interesting one there.
What actually this is?
I think James is actually resuscitating me in that one. I
think that
too many mushrooms,
or else he's jealous. He wants you to throw them up back in the back. And, so that's the back. That's the back of the cellar for and there's one there at the back of the cellar too. I think. I wonder, was that
Gregor
at the time of Red Organ Serpent Sound? With
Wally?
Who's
Who's that in the middle?
Is that not Wally?
No, don't. I don't think it is.
No, I think it is.
I don't know. No one knows what Wally looks like without a hat on. It could be like, but
No, it's
never
not
seen him without a hat.
Well, for the people out there, we'll put out a wee message for this dude here.
Yeah.
It's just appeared.
Yeah.
Frankly, he's just appeared in our picture.
Could be a dude from Lisburn called Michael Beckett, but could be Wally. Could
Well,
I don't know. Yeah, let's try and.
Well,
yeah.
are we confident?
There's bound to be an app for that. Just hold it up.
Would you just put the power of your hand over it there? No, it's disappeared out on there. There he is. Just
let's see.
There you are. Take a wee look out. And just when doing that there, do you know there you were doing there way back online, like a certain type of Gorian chant. It was like a
the old the old Mongolian throat singing.
Throat singing. So and then I know how did I could do just for people out there, right? Because there's all these types of, there's all these types, Maggie. There's all these types of people out there, and teach people how to sing and hit notes and this and all, the high C and all that there. So for people out there that just needs to know, so a guy comes from Derby, he hits Lisburn, right? And he puts together MOJO Fury, and he rock and rolls, right? And then, just like a divine intervention, Mongolian singing. But I know that there was a band, is it Through or Throw or
yes,
True or True?
True, yes. So I play in an outfit called True, and which is made up of Donald Kearney and Zach Troughton. Zach also plays in Amy's live band, but the lads.
Oh, is that the guitar? That's the guitar.
Yeah, guitar player and keyboard.
Zach.
So the lads would have played in would have started off in Anuna, the sort of contemporary Irish choir, the dip in and out of
like Celtic sort of style music, and then sort of chants and
chanting and beautiful stuff. But they would have done a bit of the old like.
I'll give it a go there for the people out there. Give it.
I can't do it. You can't do it when you're smiling because the Mongolians like. Hold on. Don't look at me.
Mikey. Just show the people out there. Put your foot on the right hand side and show them what's there. Wah pedal, right? Just,
well, you can't.
That's lethal.
A bit of reverb in that.
It's like an out-banger engine trying to start up in the morning. We had to put something on. Go heat up. But you sang along with the two guys, right?
Yeah.
And so that was something. And I did hear a video, and it's that sort of because I remember Here Come the Land of Gentry went down to, I think it was Portrush, the wee dome place, famous tourist place. I just forgot to mention, the famous tourist place. It's like a church or something. You go in, it's out the end of the beach, and you go on it. And because this big sound. So I know they chanted, and it was like the way you were laid out was something like that. There, were you in an old room or something?
I think you're thinking about there's a video online of True where we got to visit the Sark, which is one of the Channel Islands off just off Guernsey there, and it was there was a Nazi underground hospital, and we got to go into the hospital and sing in traditional Sark sort of or Guernsey language, and they had
their own sort of like
their own sort of dialect and
what would it be like? Would it be like sort of like the Irish language or like any other European language, or is it sort of a mixture? I suppose
it would sound like a bit of Welsh and Gaelic sort of in there, but Donald put a melody to this old text, and it was sort of a Guernsey folk song, and so we put our spin on it, but got to do it in this underground hospital, this bunker thing, and
it looked deadly because it looked deadly, and I wasn't sure where it was actually at. And
that's
I think that's up online, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I think maybe should we'll shout out when we just hashtag the Mongolian throat voice.
Hashtag up the Mongolians, and definitely check out True if you're listening to this. There's True. TRU with a fada. There's going to be a brilliant record.
A lot of people that don't know what a fada is out there.
I'm a Protestant. Don't ask me. It's just some wee slanty bit above the U. Like I'm only.
Well, you don't have to be picking at me here. You don't have to go down this route now.
I'm only just learning this fada's business. The lads are around saying, "Why are you sticking that?" It takes me about half an hour to find it, and the fucking you hit Alt, hold Control, hold number 9, and then if you hit the U, you might get it if you're lucky. If your keyboard's set up right.
Do you need bodybuilder fingers to do it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Do you know, like wee muscly fingers?
Either that or just a good IT hip. No. So, True Record's going to be out next year, and it's beautiful. And
you recorded them?
Yeah. So I've recorded it. Yeah, and it's a mixture of original stuff and then some traditional songs, but all done with like, you know, nice, interesting percussion, electric guitars, beautiful harmonies. So some songs people would know, like Clanad's Dulaman. I don't know if you know that beautiful track, you know, and all this stuff. But just nice to hear it done in a bit of a more sort of maybe indie approach, you know. And
it's good.
It's cracker, yeah.
So the first album came out. We were then on to the second album that you produced yourselves, that had more loops and more beats.
That's
and
right.
as I say,
by that stage, we're living in the farm, and so
is that that was the first Millbank? The Yuns recorded the album yourselves, but it was a brilliant album as well. And the two albums, people should go out and listen if there's a chance, if you can throw out where they can find them, because they should listen to them because they're absolutely deadly. And the second album, where you had more expansion on vocals, loops, and for me, the second album, if people were listening to this, well, we were talking about from the start when you talked about the twin tape deck. This was like the Rolls Royce engine of doing it yourself, putting the album together. And I know James was with you on.
Jimbo and I produced the whole thing, and it's I suppose it's a double-edged sword of you do something yourself. There's something nice whenever you're in the studio and maybe the clock's ticking and pressure makes diamonds, and you only you do what needs done, and maybe you've got limited tracks and but getting to whenever there's no one driving the ship as such, us sort of go mad in the farm for God knows however long it was, a year longer, making the second record, and but that it's cool too. It's a learning curve, and there's some great stuff in there. Not that I wouldn't say it's a very consistent sort of, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but there's some great moments that relate to the first record.
Yeah, definitely. And the whole, and giving yourself, your vocal, you nearly found your vocal, that, and that's what, I'd say, made where it was and how it sounded. And so I think people should definitely get in and find them. As I say, for me, the second album, what's the expansion of all where you were at from the start to Shouldn't We Live In, the first demo, second, first album to second album, was a great progression. And then you moved from the MOJO camp to Millbank, which you recorded many different artists. One of them we'll get in a minute. So you then came along in there. You were the boss for a start. You ran the studio. You owned the studio. You had to manage the studio, you had to book a band, you had to do everything. And so how was that for you, coming into all that?
Yeah, amazing. But by that stage, having been in and out of studios with MOJO and been in and out of musical scenarios on both ends, doing a little bit of sort of recording for people in production, but then wanting to take it a bit more seriously by that stage, and then knowing what it's like on both sides of the glass, how whenever you're a band, what way do you want to be treated, and do you want the Steve Albini thing where do you want me just to hit record, or do you want me to help you write the song, do you want me to shake a mad tambourine, do you want me to put a mad beat with it, or do you want to hear it with a synth, do you know what a synth is, let me introduce you to synths, and all this crazy stuff. So just like I loved having people come into the studio around that period, and sort of then being able to luckily go full time, and do the studio, and then even recording the Bonnevilles and stuff back then.
Yeah, that's what I say. The Bonnevilles, you have a great list of people that come in, and even there's a local girl, Kathleen Nicholson. You then
just finished Kate Nicholson's record. It's class, and
I know you and Amy helped her along with it, which is brilliant.
Big time.
And like as I say, so then you put out your first solo album, Lo-Fi. For the people out there, it's just in my hand. How did the cover come about? I don't want to say, is that like a duck?
There's a duck called Abdul. He's an Indian runner duck.
Is he an Olympian?
I think he was, but MOJO was about to go on tour, and we had this duck living in the farm, so we went over to the next door neighbours. I heard, mate, would you look after that duck? We'll just be away for 2 weeks. And it was about 2 years later, and it's still driving past your man, go, fuck, I wonder if he still got that duck. Just never got round. And then time went by, and it was just too long, so it got weird, so it got too long to go back and ask back for the duck back, because maybe the duck had got friends with his chickens, or maybe the duck might have died.
Do you think a duck went away? Do you think a duck could partner up, you think? You think a duck?
Anything can happen in this world, I think. Anything you can think of, I think.
I know duck disco, in the pond there, put all your lights on. Hey, whack, whack, do a little disco. Hey, come on, Mikey, get the one over there. Whack, 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 whack. Like a wee symphony, whack, 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 whack. So, and then Mongolian singers, you could get them all around the pond and just sing, and they'd all come to you. So, did you go to the farmer then, and did you kidnap the duck? No. So let people know that there was no kidnapping here.
No, there's no. So whatever happened to Abdul, he probably lived out his days with the neighbour, and
Can I ask why you called him Abdul?
Because he was an Indian runner duck. That's like, Jemima puddle ducks along.
This is a genuine.
That's an Indian runner duck, guys.
So I was right. He was an Olympian.
Yeah.
You could 3 DM bits on him, the red ones.
Well, you wouldn't be going too fast with DMs.
No, it's so deadly. So then it came out. How long did it take you then? I know that we were chatting and you're saying that your second album is about to come out. Have you working on that? I know you're busy.
That was my sort of, during living on the farm, kind of in between the MOJO, making my own music, which, to not having to answer to anybody about what way things would be, and being inspired from the amount of people I was working with. So, and the likes of Pat Smith and Melodian.
Yeah.
So there's some songwriter stuff going in there. But then at the same end, I'm getting inspired from working with the Bonnevilles
and Joshua Burns and people like that.
Yeah, people like that.
And Pat Smith and as you say, all these individuals now and Melodian have all released many albums, what I mean, and credit to you, and because they're attracted, because as you said earlier on, you said an important thing, it from both sides, from the actual musician's point of view going in, and even like this here, you're sitting and you're talking or whatever it is, and you're going to perform after you and Amy. But I think at this stage, I will just say a massive one wee thing I left out for the people out there. We didn't last long, the business didn't last long, but the skinny Malinky, the Malinky clothesline.
I believe there's a garment or two out there that are worth millions now.
For people out there wondering, there's a few shirts. I'm missing a few shirts.
SkinnyMalinky.com. Just
a few shirts went touring. So if people want to check it out, if there is out there good people listening, which I know there will be, Mikey, that the contact you about that process, because I know that I was there at the start and then it disappeared down in the middle of it. But look, it's been brilliant out friend chatting to you again, and I know you're going to sit now and we're going to ask Amy in. She's going to come running through one of them there, I think, in a minute, and it's all going to be edited as cool as you like. And so thanks very much for speaking to me. Credit, and it's brilliant that you're still in among it all, and your new studio. Just so people out there, I know you moved from Millbank, which was in a farm, so you're now moved to a new studio
just up in Hillsborough now, so just outside Belfast, and it's where Amy and I have spent our lockdown. So living in the rafters in the loft, but we're based up there at the minute. But no, it's given me time to build the studio, and it's awesome. So it's a great space, same as this place. It's just got a vibe. It's a nice creative space, So we hope to have many happy years and make lots of amazing music there.
Brilliant.
It's going to be class.
And well, just for people out there, there could be young musicians listening or whatever, or people in general that maybe are looking for a studio. That how did they get you, like, as a sense yourself as a producer for your studio, or is it up there yet, or are you just waiting to put it out there? I know people word of mouth. I haven't really
officially launched it as such, but it's on Google and stuff. 3 Song Studios, but whenever we get onto a bit of a better path here, with the pandemic, we'll do a nice launch and play some music and have people in and give it a good
cups of soup and bowls of soup and all.
And all the scones you could eat.
We had actually scones earlier on. I should have brought them up and we could present them to each other.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because maybe we can do it when Amy's here. But
oh my God,
this This is a survival kit for you here.
It's a survival kit. Should I wait to open it later when we're finished, or do you think I just...
Oh no, well, you open it now and then...
Open it now, like...
Maybe when...
Nathan, I'm alright to get up here, lad. Because it's like...
no, you can open it there. So nothing's going to leap out.
I feel like James Bond here, Nathan. What about a wee Mongolia? What about a wee Mongolian chant?
That's a good sound for the opening of the box. Slowly, easy. Take care.
Holy smoking Cassandra! Look, right. So the good people out there. We have got it all. Do you know what? I feel like we're not allowed picnics in the minute. I think like you're all.
No, that's why it's in a black box. It's only.
So would you like to help me call out? We've got the
squirty cream.
We've got the squirty cream. We've got the 4 deadly scones.
Cherry, yeah.
Cherry. What would your favourite scone be?
Oh, cherry, hands down, fresh. There's a wee bakery in the village in Hillsborough does a good cherry scone. Nice, just perfect moisture.
Do you want to plug
level.
them? Do you want to plug them? Plug them.
Adair's Bakery in Hillsborough. Folks, get down.
Get down, and their scones. Yeah. Well, Adair's Bakery in Hillsborough. If me and Mikey come in. This will be left in, and if we were supplied with free scones sound good, and you and Amy should get a free scone.
Cruise in at 4:30. The scones are 20p, so it's
4:30. Scones are 20p, and deadly jam. And you've ever holy shit! You can fucking knife
butter.
Oh my god, I'm getting emotional.
So you can set them up and then dish them out. If there's only one person allowed to touch the box, but it's not the usual scones. Those aren't Adair's. It's hard to get the good stuff at the minute because all the lockdown and that.
There's 2 deadlies in the white band.
That's 2 plains just because Amy's a bit weird with the cherries still.
No, I'm a plain sconer too.
Working her way up.
It sounds good. Well, I would love to pull out a big Secret Service box and offer you something, but I have a scone downstairs and maybe someone before the.
That's why I didn't take your scone because I didn't want to. I wanted to wait and present you with those scones.
Oh, I tell you what. But
now, later on, we're going to have a big scone off.
We'll have a scone off. It'll be like some big WWF. Scone off. Who's on tonight? World champion, Mikey. So we're going to welcome Amy in now, Mikey. And so thank you very much.
Class.
They're in my ear. They're throwing breadcrumbs at me in the background. I can pick it up, and so thank you very much. I'll give you a wee round of applause. Amy is going to come round the corner. You know that stars in your eyes. Tom Jones. So just before the break here, magically, when I say magically, I was like, we were just talking and then bing, Amy just landed. You're welcome. And thank you for coming along. But just before we start, in the background earlier on, when you were having a wee break yourself in a scone, I also have scones for you guys. So I'm going to present them over to your side. I can't do the Mongolian chant, but if you want to take me over with that. So the scones just landed on the other side there, if you wonder what all the strange noises were. So we are here, and
are you going to get that cream out there? Are we squirt? I need it.
You know what? I just wrote him out here. Sorry, Nathan. The whole thing's a wee Cape Canaveral here, but it's all right. I'll open up the jungle book here.
Here we go. Look at that. Iceland and everything. Fancy Draper's Town scone. Oh,
what's that? It's speaking to me, Mike. It's speaking to me. So, what do you need over your side?
A bit of squirty cream.
Here you are, son.
And a lash of jam. I won't touch the top. You touch the top. Here we go.
This is better than getting you out of here, isn't it?
I
thought I was here to talk about music, and I'm somehow in the middle of like a full cooking show.
They were arguing there about are you jam or cream first, but I don't really see how you can spread. It's got to be the jam first, doesn't it?
You just work away there. You prepare and I'll chat to Amy. How's that sound?
I don't know if I can concentrate while he's putting jam on a scone.
No,
but anyway, I'll give it a go.
Could I say that your own scones look as deadly as them scones? They're pretty good scones. Is getting ready there? You alright there? Yeah.
All good.
It's looking good. So. And have you got a wee tissue and all? Here we
go.
Jam and scone and cream.
Do you want me to hook you up?
I hook one on there. Hook one on there. And I'll go get it. I'll leave the mic stand sometime when a wee dander. So Amy Montgomery.
Hello.
Songwriter extraordinaire. Voiced some read recently and some of your press stuff. A force of nature is what you are, and have seen you perform down when we were doing the sessions downstairs.
Oh,
you and
yeah,
Mikey,
yeah.
And it was brilliant. And from that there, you have from a young age you always wanted to sing. Yeah. And so when you're in your young days, would you been singing around like local halls or competitions, or would it have been something that your mammy would have driven you to, or
yeah.
How did that all go for you when you were younger?
So I started. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to build a wall here,
right.
and
You should be able to
not
chat
look
about life.
at Michael.
Beside you, just squirting a bit of cream on
So
You just a bit of cream on that. It all looks well.
This is
just
the
for
start
people,
of the rest of your life, Amy Montgomery.
Just for people out there, Mike, that may not be watching the visual end of this, what actually is happening is we've opened up your box and there was cream in it, and jam and scones, and now you're presenting to me jam, cream and scones, and you also have a scone from me there that you're going to go up open, and I'm making my way over. I'm making my way over. Social distance, bang. I had to eat 40 spiders and 2 snakes and a lizard back juice to get that there. I'll have to share it for 20 contestants. So here we are. I'm trying to make room and all, and our guitar shape. So Amy, sorry, it all went a wee bit away from you there, but we're back to you now. So on your young days, so singing at what type of concerts and things?
So I got into singing when I was really young, maybe 7 or 8. And from the age of 8, I took part in all these mad singing competitions.
Would you have been in any choirs or any school choirs?
No, I was
no.
never much of a choir girl. More like just get up on stage and blast that backing track,
What kind of tunes were you doing then? Like, what would be your tunes?
I was actually telling the guys last night, we had a band practice last night, I was telling them about one singing competition. I was singing Hey Soul Sister by Train. You know that song? Yeah. Hey Soul Sister. Yeah, and actually during that singing competition, I decided, in myself before I did this competition, I was like, this is the big one. I am gonna get a hat. I'm gonna wear a hat for this singing competition, and not only am I gonna wear the hat, but I am gonna flip that hat up my arm when the words come out. Hey, soul sister.
You had it, Neil.
Oh yeah.
Did you practice and all?
Oh, I practiced that hat.
Was it a wee brush you practiced?
Yeah. There's actually, you know what? There's actually a photo of me in I think it's the Lisburn Star or something. You know,
the
from
local paper.
The local paper from when I was about 9 or 10 years old. And I'm not joking. There is a photo of me with a hairbrush in my hand.
There you go.
And this hat, I'm wearing my hat.
Brilliant. So then you also done busking and stuff. Was that in round Lisburn, or are you originally from round?
I'm from Lisburn, yeah. So it started with the singing competitions, and then that slowly evolved into being inspired by my dad. My dad would have played guitar in the house growing up, would have listened to a lot of, I was influenced a lot by rock music growing up.
What bands? Would it be like Black Sabbath and
like
that?
Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and AC/DC.
Any female sort of?
Susie Quattro and who else?
Then the cannon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a rocker, isn't it?
That's great, yeah.
Susie Quattro's just pure rock and roll.
I know, class, yeah.
And, so them type of like bands like Sabbath, there was a quite difference between Susie and War Pigs and things like that there. But you would have been listening then to essentially rock singers. You seen Led Zeppelin as well?
Definitely,
And your father that was playing that in the background, and obviously you were observing that, not even thinking that you were at the time bouncing around with the hairbrush. Which was the first hairbrush rock and roll song that you done in the house?
I don't know. I would imagine one AC/DC song. Like, I even remember being, again, like 9 years old, running around the house, going into town with my AC/DC top on, and just thinking that I was just class, 9 years old wearing an AC/DC top. That's pretty cool. Like,
rock and roll.
I know.
And DC for also, yet again, you would have Bon Scott and then you have Brian Johnson, and then you have all the arguments saying, oh, blah 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 was better and blah blah. But there were 2 deadly vocalists. Same with Ozzy, Robert Plant, who has taken his voice from full on rock and roll till a place now where it's in his band's a cool band. I've seen him few years back. Actually, went over the time I went with the Woodburn and Savages, Mikey, over to the BBC Introducing. His band was playing there, and it was totally amazing. From taking some of the rock and roll songs of Zeppelin in the past, and then taking them and having a real cool band and acoustifying it and all, probably like on a holy gospel band type of effect going on. But as I say, that's someone that I know that Ewan's were to play at the
Black Deer Festival in Kent.
And I know that Robert Plant was to headline it, is that right?
Yeah, Robert Plant was meant to headline it, and we were going to be playing the same day as him, playing on the same stage.
How deadly is that?
I know.
You're listening to Ramble On, next minute
I know.
you're going to ramble to the man himself about the song. How deadly is that?
Class.
How do you know plan?
Oh, I'm not joking, I did have a plan.
Tell me the wee link, tell the world the wee link out there. Tell the good people.
When I found out that Robert Plant was playing Black Deer Festival, and I was going to not only be playing the same bill as Robert Plant, but playing the same stage as him on the same day, I think I cried that night, didn't I? I actually cried with happiness, and rock tears.
You're lying on the mattress against your fingers, but you know that must be amazing, and for someone like yourself, so young, and that's a really massive thing. Like you can't, not many people can say that they sat with their parents. I know there is people that sat with their parents and obviously listened to certain tunes that inspired them, or would have they've been growing up around, like yourself, Mikey, with the intervention of your father and his music and
Hocus Pocus.
And all deadly stuff. But so you then, for the likes of you came then, you met, I suppose you'd done your school and you'd done that sort of competition type thing at that place, and you'd done the busking. Did you find that the busking, because people will hear later on, you've got a very powerful voice, and did you feel the busking and doing all their tunes were sort of trying to train yourself to where I need to be as a singer, and maybe sometimes in the first demo we can give our life into that song, or you know what I mean by that, Mikey, and then all of a sudden we approach what is a first release or something, and all of a sudden there's a different angle, the same powerful individuals there, but like a different tone, and using the first tone as the tone to lift to when needed. Because I seen your good sales at Stand Hall. You're playing the Henry McCullough stage.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, and I was saying you broke into. Was Jan Dumek? Wasn't it Janis Joplin?
We finished with Piece of My Heart. Didn't
we finished that because why did we do that?
Because it was the 50-year anniversary from Woodstock, so we thought at a festival just blast that tune out for a wee nod of the head, you know. So
so Zach Troughton, yourself, Mike, and Amy were the band then, and but. No, it was deadly. I actually had it in my phone, and you can. It's surprising what a classic song, and when you sing it out to people, how many actually know what it is, you know. And it doesn't matter of age or any of that.
Yeah.
As artists, you know that a good tune's a good tune, and it's got everlasting grasp to people. That was deadly, and the whole set. As I say, I suppose like anything, you're then getting used to playing stages. The Deer Festival would have been a bigger stage, obviously, and rightly so, and that's probably where you'll be going as you go along the next phase. And for yourself, Amy, when you were going to do your first demo, had you the songs written at home, sort of thing, and then sort of brought them to Mikey? Or how did you know about Mikey in Lisburn, this guru of master of all, the Zen master who can just zen himself out and zen himself in? It's like a sort of a quantum leap, you know, because Mikey has quantum leaped into many different parts of the whole industry, and for someone then like yourself to come along and meet someone like Mikey, it nearly sort of what he knows already is amazing. Did you find that, or how did you sort of link up in the sense of recording, or did you know about Millbank? Yeah.
So being both from Lisburn, I mean, Michael being based in Lisburn, me being from Lisburn, I mean, there aren't that many people playing music regardless of age in the Burn, you know. So I suppose
is it something that needs to pick up a bit? Yeah,
yeah, it does. I mean, there are musicians there, but I could definitely do with some more, you know. But yeah, that was sort of one little link. Another link was Michael went to school with my sister. So that way I knew who he was. I can't actually remember the first song that we started to record.
I think you just sent me a few voice memos of Dangerous, didn't you? And then
Yeah.
And then I was like, whenever Amy had sent me a couple of really, really rough tracks, I was like, holy shit, we got to record this. And then got her into the studio. And
at that point, I'd never even stepped foot into a studio, so I had no idea.
You weren't used to coming into a place where everything, you were in a room and you were sort of, it was all new to you, and where do you stand at the mic and all them things.
All those things, but more so, what I mean more so is where you can take the bones of a song that you have that is just an acoustic song really, with vocals and acoustic guitar in my case, and then somehow it gets transformed into this huge like sonic experience, and you're listening. I actually remember the one sentence I said to Michael when we recorded Dangerous. I think it was Dangerous, and I said, wow, this is exactly the way I imagine song to sound. And that's just not something that you can capture just with a vocal and an acoustic guitar, but it's probably what I hear in my head. I heard in my head when I was playing it.
And then that was your first introduction, I suppose, to tracking as such and building a song and and getting it all together. So your music for people out there that aren't aware of you, that may be listening, it's got very powerful messages. For someone so young, you want to get you've said it yourself, with the death of your mother, that was a great inspiration to you, like any mother would be to people and their kin, and you found inside the tunes that you wanted to give a message out to people, and on your new EP, and it's very powerful. I would say that myself. And how did that feel for you? Because I know you've written about it, and that to find yourself, because I've seen you live, and as I said to Mikey, you capture the crowd, you're totally into it, like that man there himself. You get into this mode and you give it all, and you want to tell people that it's all right to reach out and have friends and have friendships. So how for you did that all feel, writing that EP, for yourself?
Well, first of all, I think the realization in when anybody experiences something traumatic in their lives, I think something that's not so commonly talked about, especially here, is how actually powerful and transforming that can be for someone. I mean, positively transforming. Of course, like everything, there's negative aspects of it as well, but it can be a really, really transforming thing if you allow it to be. And ever since the passing of my mum, I can't describe it, but my perspective on everything, on life, on connections with people, on conversations, hearing other people's stories and their lives and what they've experienced, all of it changed. And
you're not alone.
And then ever since then, then you put that into music, and of course, like this
healing process begins.
Exactly. And we'll carry on, and we'll carry on my whole life probably, but suddenly when you inject that into music, and especially into performing, which is where I feel very comfortable, on stage, giving it my all, once you sort of mix that realization with the output of performance and just sort of like letting yourself go, as you said, I lay it all down when I'm on stage. And
you certainly do. And that's a good thing. I mean, and that's a sign of a powerful front person. Like yourself, and like Mikey would have been in the MOJO, and Paul Connolly, that type of,
Paul's great,
and the message, and you tell that message, and I keep telling that message, because I think for young people out there now, it's great for someone like yourself, as a role model, out being a songwriter, leading a band, and getting out to festivals at such a young age. Like you also played Australia, and then that's where the producer came out for your EP, is that right? And so how was that experience, and how did that come about? Like, you know, was it just like a phantom in the night, a phone call? Remember we were on earlier on, Michael, but this phone call, was she answer or not? Well,
it kind of was like that. Yeah, we were actually on tour when I got the message. I think maybe we were driving through Germany or something.
Well, do you mean Australia Black Deer? Wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. Or no, sorry, we were driving. I can't remember. Oh no, yeah, we were driving from Black Deer Festival last year. I'm perhaps going across to Europe on tour. And William Crichton, this Australian artist, had heard us playing from across the festival field.
He was trying to come over because he heard Amy's voice from across the field the way you do at a festival, but he just
did he pay Andy?
He just missed it.
I didn't pay Andy, not? Or did he pay
No, he was playing. He was playing.
He was playing. Oh yeah, fully legit artist.
Jeez, I'm liking that there. I'll go with the head.
Yeah.
Well, we go now, Isabella. Well, have a go now. I'll get in free. I thought, I was thinking, this is really strange. Sorry.
Yeah, he was sat in Australia and just heard me playing in England. Going. So he heard us and he made his way across the festival field, missed the gig, and I didn't even meet him, but it was only until we were in the car driving in the bus driving to the next festival or whatever it was. I just got a message on social media, of all places to get this kind of message. He sent me a message asking if I would ever want to come over and support him in Australia.
That's brilliant.
And of course, like, we're all sitting in the tour bus going, that kind of sounds a bit mad, you don't know. It's so
it's
like,
could have been like the scones are jam on the lips with no scones sort of fact. You weren't sure at this stage if this is the real deal.
Yeah.
If this guy actually lives in maybe some strange place outside somewhere in Northern Ireland, or anywhere.
That's exactly what it felt like. And I again, because I hadn't played that far away before, probably as well, and lo and behold, that happened. And the guys over in Australia were great to us at Dashville Festival. They planned a whole itinerary for us. And
brilliant.
it was awesome. Like,
and is that something now like that you would think about going back out again as a band? And
we've started to build a nice connection over there, and we're running some press on the Intangible EP down there, and sort of running the UK and Oz, kind of working those markets for the EP. So
that's brilliant.
Cool.
Yeah,
brilliant.
and we've also just signed a Source Publishing as well, and Rob from Source Publishing is based in Australia as well, so we're kind of like making these little ties, you know. I know, and you know what? I've got a story. I should have worn my t-shirt. I've got a story. We were in Australia, and the woman, wasn't she the first? She discovered AC/DC basically.
She worked for Albert at the time. So
Albert Records,
and so
Albert Productions too.
And she's a lovely woman. Her name's FIFA Riccobono, amazing name. And she is friends with my management, and my management worked quite closely with her and worked with AC/DC for a while as well. So my manager had set up a lunch, you know, like for us to meet FIFA Riccobono. FIFA took us out for lunch, and
just
you know,
a name like that there. You just
I know.
Hello, Antonio Riccobono. I'm feeling she went past here, or she's just a big Aussie, you know.
She's really Aussie, like she's a real Aussie, and she was lovely, and you know, she was just telling us about her experiences with AC/DC. You know, she was quite close to the guys, wasn't she? And
but it shows you it's a small world. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
it's
you built that, and the
small but massive.
Thank you very much. And that's certainly linked to be perfect. But so the EP's out now, and it's going well, and you have a few dates planned. You know, the Working Man's Club in Dublin, and you have different dates in the UK. So I know at the minute it's about plan and then shoot forward the plan, and then try and wait to the plans interrupted again, and then the plan.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
how many plans can we have, Mikey? Yeah. Amy, how many plans do you think we need to have? Just for the people out there who know, I've got everything ready. Next thing, the plan.
Well, I mean, our show in Ulster Sports Club in Belfast has now been rescheduled, twice or three times. And so it's now like a year after what it was supposed to be, which is crazy, you know, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all you can do. You can just keep planning. I mean, if you didn't plan, what would you be doing,
I
know?
Well, look, I tell you this, it's brilliant.
As long as Brexit doesn't push the price of flour up too much, then we can keep the scones coming, and everything will be okay.
Look, All we need and the cream in the just some cream and the scones to fulfill it. But what we'll do now is Amy, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
And say whenever I know that you're planning to be writing an album and stuff like that there, and certainly before you maybe just go whoosh and shoot away into the sky on us, you're welcome back to do a podcast again, because you're a great guest, you and Mikey, to chat about it if you want to. If you're not all toured out, here, Nigel, where are we going next? Not sure. London, Mike, where are we going next, Mike? Brighton. So we didn't bring any scarves, didn't we, not, Mikey?
No, just
I had a scarf there and we were going to do something with it, but now we don't know what happened. Oh, you watching your magic bag of tricks?
I bought a lovely I got this magic hat. Look at that. Unbelievable, isn't it?
There's some other things in
Can I just say that hat looks absolutely deadly?
Isn't it beautiful?
Oh my god, here we get it on there. Get it on there.
Oh, it's actually a kid's size, so it won't fit on my head.
The reason the goat came, because remember I was telling you,
won't fit over the space
since the
buns.
first time Mojo, since we met, since the festival, since it was 5,969 days since Mojo first played the second Glasgowbury, and then 5,000
It's a lot of miles.
5,969, right? If you that in meters in miles is 3.5 miles, and if you take all the hair of a goat and line it up, it's 3.5 miles. So that's.
Could I just say, for anyone out there trying to learn maths, that is a perfect explanation for me, and I understand it completely, and I think it's deadly. So if you have any problems with counting, strip them down.
Yeah. If you ever want to get a maths class from Michael Mormecha, you can expect a mask.
So look, to Tunes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks, Mikey. And thank you very much. Give me the wee line, Mikey.
For the
I should still be dancing. You ready? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right. Get the scone on. You ready?
No, thank you very much. I'm still dancing.
Yeah.